Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. As always, I'm your host, Adam Smith, with Just the Tips Coaching, and with me, pretty much also, as always, is our co-host, one of our coaches, and our marketing director, Jenn Wayboer. Good morning, Jenn.
Good morning, Adam.
And you guys probably know our guest. I think he's our only three-peat guest thus far in all these years of doing the show. I can't think of anybody else that's had a third visit with us, but nonetheless, we're here with Grant Inaba. Good morning, Grant.
Good morning. What an honor. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, it's certainly our pleasure. We love having you on the show, so yeah, we are happy to do it. And of course, I think that, we've certainly hashed about this in the past, but I think one of the things that really attracts us to you is that you are a librarian. And you usually don't see the kind of mentality, the kind of sales skills, the kind of extrovert, outgoing type of people that are really good real estate agents, as you are. Obviously, we've got some standards. Well, there's no standard for letting me on the show because it's my show, so there's a very low standard there. But for our guests, we actually have relatively high standards, and we usually don't see top producing real estate agents who used to be librarians. Those are, some unique qualities right there. So now you guys have a little bit of background on Grant, and if you want some more, you can certainly watch previous episodes of, or listen to, I guess I keep ignoring the podcast audience, listen to previous episodes with Grant as a guest. But yeah, a lot has changed since the last time that you were on the show, and certainly in your personal life. Let's give us the highlights, Grant.
Yeah, well, I just had a baby last December, so that was about 4 months ago, and so that's really exciting. That's a big change in my life. First baby, and quarantine baby, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah, life is very different now.
Yeah, I'll bet that's true. In all kinds of ways. You had mentioned how that had not certainly not in an adverse way, but that it had an impact on your real estate practice, and obviously
Yeah.
having a baby has an impact on every facet of your life. But what does that mean when it comes to your business?
Well, it's been pretty interesting actually. When I had very first got my license, our association had this it's like orientation session. I remember the host. He was this old school guy, very gray haired, big pot belly. You can tell he was very successful. But he said something to me after the session that I never ever will ever forget. I walked up to him and I said, "Thank you for hosting this orientation." He said, "Oh yeah, real estate's great. I love it. I've been in it for decades, and the thing that I love about it the most is that you can really bust your butt one year and then take the whole next year off." And I was like, "Oh man, I've always wanted to just try that and see how that works." And so this is the closest thing I've come to it now, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have found that putting the systems in place and just making every type of automation possible and maximizing every opportunity has really created a situation where I can kind of just let everything run on autopilot right now. And so that's really been kind of fun recently. I haven't really spent too much money on advertising, all the extra Zillow spend or Realtor.com. I shut that all down. Haven't been really doing any kind of social media paid advertising. So I'm kind of, in a way, going back to the very beginning when I was kind of doing everything on the fly for free. And that's really the extent of the marketing that I'm doing these days. And yet still there's referral business coming in, there's sphere of influence business coming in, there's a return. Clients are stepping up and buying their next larger home. So that's just been a lot of fun to just kind of sit back and just wait for the phone to ring, and I guess have the faith or the feeling that tomorrow's still gonna be a good day while I'm not really doing as much as I was before.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that just comes with time and experience. And as we focus on and build out a repeat and referral business, and obviously our goal here with certainly with my practice and certainly with all of our coaching clients is to enter into it with the mindset that you want to build up a repeat and referral business that you can eventually step away from while it still pays you. It just happens to be the logical, steps in a great real estate practice. And I do think that as time goes on, just from an organic fashion, if we continue to do really good work, we get to the point where, it just becomes a little more autopilot-esque, as it were. Business, just comes in and we're not focused so heavily on, advertising or lead gen or those kinds of things as we are and get to be and are privileged with just taking good care of the clients that we do have, because that snowballs. Those people refer more people, they use you again, on, and it continues to snowball. And I think eventually you get to a point where, generating new leads or worrying about advertising or your Facebook ads or your postcards or your bus benches, for those of you that have been doing this for 30 years, just kind of goes by the wayside. And there's so much business at a certain point that you don't have to think about that stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. I almost feel like I've been graduated or indoctrinated into the veteran category now, because there's lots of old school people I've watched, and they don't participate in social media, and they're selling $1 million houses every month, and it's like, whoa, how are you doing this? And I think for them it's basically that they've earned that business over time, and now it just kind of flows in a regular fashion. So I'm starting to feel like that might be happening for myself as well. I don't know.
Oh, I'll bet it is. And I think the only difference, of course, is that the science of lead gen has changed over that time. When these people were in a place where you're at now, or even earlier in your career than you're at now, there was no social media.
Yeah.
We had to have other lead gen activities in order to get the same kind of result: repeat clients, referral clients, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I don't think that that's really any different than what you're experiencing. I think it's just the methodology is different, because some of it didn't exist then. Some of what they were doing then doesn't exist now. Those kinds of things. But yeah, I think the activity, the result, and certainly the long-term result is kind of the same on both fronts.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. There's one thing that's been kind of it's been kind of annoying me a little bit, and I want to pick your brain about it. When I very first started out, I was doing basically every single type of client I could, every single type of business I could, and any place I could. And that meant maybe driving 50 miles away, 30 miles away to the next city, the next county. And so I have a lot of that repeat business coming back too, or now I want to specialize in my own neighborhood or a certain price point. And those clients I'm having a hard time, saying no to. So thankfully, I've actually built out a team as well, where I've got more agents where I can, kind of spread a lot of that business that I don't want, to them. I've been actually refusing basically anything that's below $500,000 sale, and really concentrating on more higher price point stuff and giving those leads to those agents that I work with.
Yeah, you're not really saying no, and you certainly want to help people, and you want to help as many people as you can over the course of your career. So having a team is a big deal for that. And the coaching clients we have where they have teams are doing this in pretty much every aspect of their business: buy side, sell side. And it's not just necessarily related to transactions that they don't want to individually work, but it's also the distance, like you said, the personality of the client, whether or not that's a good mesh or not. And they're focusing on different things. Building a team where, we're pivoting from, with a lot of our coaching clients, we're at that point right now where we're pivoting from how do we do lead gen and what do we do once we're really good at it. And then, yes, we start building a team, and now we're focusing on the long term, the bigger picture, building a business that we can eventually step away from while it still pays us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you're right on. The thing that surprises me is that you have real estate out there that is going for less than 500,000. That's I'm not sure we do in the Denver metro area. But that is certainly a big part of it. But yeah, and when we first, the very first piece of the puzzle, when we start talking about that pivot into team structure and building a business that you can walk away from, the first thing we have everybody do, essentially, I mean, we have some techniques that make it a little more entertaining, that make it a little more of a revelation. We really want people to see how they're spending their time, but make a list of everything that you have to do during the day, and that would include dealing with $400,000 buyers, whatever the case may be for your particular business. And if you don't love doing it, or it doesn't make you a ton of money, you pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line, and that's a big piece of how we learn that we need to build a team.
Yeah.
So many of these agents are doing all of the work themselves, even the $20 an hour work, and their job should be, $200 an hour work, whatever the case may be. That's going to be unique market to market, but yeah, when they have that revelation of the fact that so much of their work could be done by somebody else, where they can focus on the things that they really do well, they're really good at, they really enjoy doing, whether that's hands-on with clients or whether that's time in the video studio, whatever the case may be, it's an eye-opening experience for them, no question.
Yeah, and that's actually a really big shift for me right now too. I've always wanted to, test that theory, but I've always just been very afraid, to let go of that lower business and, have the extra time to concentrate on this higher business. I didn't really know that, or didn't really have the faith that that actually would happen. But now I'm actually, because of my life change and things happening, I made the decision to go ahead and let go of that business and create the extra time for higher business, and it's actually really worked out. It's, I think, the very first step towards the final end goal, which might be completely walking away from the business and letting it kind of run on autopilot. I don't know, but I think that's kind of the dream, I suppose, for everybody. And this is, I guess, for me, the very first step towards doing that. I always believe that if there's someone out there that can do something that's somewhat similar to what you want them to do, then you should go ahead and just let go of that control and let that happen.
Yeah,
Me,
absolutely.
yeah, the agents that I work with, they're not as experienced or seasoned as I am, but I know that they're going to try their hardest to do a good job, and that for me is enough. And they seem to have production and conversion, so I think that for all the other agents out there, you got to kind of I guess let loose the reins sometimes and just have a little trust.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure, since we lost Adam, if we're still live on Facebook or not, but I am recording this so that we can piece it back together if we have to.
Yeah.
But who knows? Technology. It's Monday. Who knows what's happening? But I've worked with small business owners for my entire career. I was a virtual assistant for a while, and that's something that I really focused on, is helping entrepreneurs accept the fact that they can give some of the work away.
Yeah.
And especially the stuff you don't like to do. If you don't like to do it, or it doesn't make you a ton of money, then why spend your time on it when somebody else does enjoy doing it? For us, in the hiring process, that's why our whole hiring process is based on personality, not so much resume, because if you can find somebody who's got a complementary, almost opposite personality to yours, then they're going to want to take on those tasks that you don't like to do anyway. So what does your team look like now, Grant?
So there are 3 agents that are working with me directly. That are, quote unquote, on my team. And then there are a couple of agents that I also kind of call within my network, where they're basically working with me by referral. And most of those agents are in other areas or in other price points that I don't want to work in, things like that. And so it's been a very fluid thing. But the agents that are directly on my team, I've been working with them very, very closely and checking in with them weekly. And I've noticed that the hiring process has been very, very key. Um, Before I was just kind of taking everybody and, communicating with everybody and really wanting to just kind of, build some kind of team. But now there's something built out here. So now I can be a lot more selective about who I choose to work with, team wise and agent wise. Um, and that's been really, really exciting. I learned that I learned about the I learned about the importance of this because I actually had met a kid on social media, and he had worked in the next county, and he was talking with me for a good deal amount of time in order to really figure out what he wanted to do in real estate and what path he wanted to take. And so I very gently said, hey, you can always hang out with us and sit in on our Zoom sessions and just silently learn about what we're doing out here. And so we did that, and then all of a sudden he actually became a part of my team. Come to find out, realize later that he actually had a learning disability. And so I had to spend a lot more time with him than my other agents. And I actually don't know if he's going to get any better just because of his challenges that he has. And
Right.
so I think at a certain point, I really want to champion him and help him break the boundaries and the borders of what his possibilities are. And but I think at a certain point also, he needs to figure out what his abilities are and how far he wants to push things. And
Absolutely.
so I think for me, it was a very big time suck in order to make an investment in this guy and not realize I was even doing that. So now I'm being a lot more selective about who's on my team and who I choose to work with, and what responsibilities I choose to give them, things like that. That's been really, really enjoyable about the team process, I think.
Yeah, very cool. Have you, I know you said something that you're not really doing much for marketing right now because of your life change.
Yeah.
Have you thought about bringing somebody on to take on some of those marketing things going forward once you're ready for the business to pick up some more again?
Yeah, up until very recently, I really enjoyed social media. It was something that I really kind of like to specialize in. And within the last year, ever since the quarantine started, I think it's been a little bit more of a shift for me. It's almost been it almost felt like more of a burden for some reason. I just didn't really feel like posting stories every day or, you know, writing a post on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, doing that whole process like I used to really enjoy doing. And so now I'm starting to really kind of think about what my audience is expecting of me. For a while, when I was feeling really burnt out on social media, I should say burnt out, but I was feeling really tired of social media. I almost felt like I was kind of letting people down, like they were watching it or hanging on my every single move. Or I always found it interesting too when people say on social media, they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't been here for a while, but I'm back again, and I just want to say hello." And I kind of wondered if my audience was really, really engaging with me in the way that I thought they were. And so I did take some time away, and I found that when I came back, during the times that I came back, that everybody was just as receptive and just as welcoming as before. So I've almost started to kind of feel like maybe I'll just keep on doing it myself, but just spend a little bit less time investing on it. Maybe highlighting very certain things like the sales that I've done or the listings that I have out, or things like that.
Yep.
And maybe that might be something that would be most beneficial for my business and keeping my sphere of influence updated. So I think
Absolutely.
that will, kind of probably be the next phase. And then probably the phase after that will probably be hiring someone to just take care of everything. I think that's going to be the next thing after this. And really that's a matter of, I think, finding the right person or finding someone that can really not only learn what I have doing right now, but also build out and contribute more towards, the whole marketing aspects. I think that, like, for example, yourself, I've been watching yourself for a couple of years now, and I think that you not only do, the very basics, but you're really kind of taking care of everything when it comes to marketing and social media. And it would be really nice to find someone that could be able to really just build a whole world within marketing and not just my own business related to.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when I came on, the previous marketing director took things to a certain point, but I've been in marketing for 10 years and this is what I love, I'm not really like, I'm not the person to be the front line of the sales part of it. I can do the sales coaching behind the scenes, especially marketing related. But I've really enjoyed taking things to the next level for Just the Tips and for Core. For those of you listening, Adam has both a mortgage company and our sales coaching company. So yeah, and you'll find somebody who will start with what you have and grow it to something even better, which is exciting to watch. And then you can be hands off and spend more time with your family or spend more time doing what you actually really love to do. Maybe more interviews like this that are, with technology exception, easy to do. It does look like we lost the Facebook Live, but I will be able to piece this together as a video because I'm recording on my end. So we'll be able to still have our podcast and everything. Thank you for bearing with us, Grant. We appreciate it. Okay. Team growth is such an important part of all of this, and it's something that we really struggle sometimes to convey to our coaching clients, that they can let go. It is okay to have somebody else take over these tasks, and they will mess up. I think that's a really important part of it as you're building a team, is to accept the fact that they are human, they will mess up, but more than likely, when they mess something up once, they're not going to do it again. If you let them have the power and put it in their hands to make it their own, they're only going to mess up that one thing one time. So, our hiring process is they do the DISC profile, and we all sit down and we do a group interview over lunch, and we really see if the person will fit in with our culture, instead of the job, because most people can work a computer these days, most people can work a phone, and beyond that it can be taught. It's the culture that is the important part of it. What kind of support staff do you have right now beyond the realtor teams?
So we do have a marketing consultant that's with our brokerage at Compass that we can always rely on and use for especially certain Compass related materials and things like that. They're not necessarily dedicated directly towards our team though. So they're willing to, I think, do everything that we need to do. But, for the specialized type of marketing that we want to do, and, kind of more nuanced thing, and also to be able to, kind of move and shift on the fly with us, that's very important. So they can only do so much, but it's nice that they're there.
Absolutely. It's a starting point for sure.
Yeah, exactly. With that, we also have agent success managers, or I could say staff hired consultants that are with Compass as well, that help us, kind of look for opportunities, say, to recruit, or different ways in order to build teams as well. So there's a little bit of agent support there in that way as well. I'm sure direct coaching would be something that we'd probably engage in, maybe sometime in the future. I've done it before myself, and I've enjoyed it to a certain extent. I've been very, very, I feel like I've been a very, very intuitive agent, and really kind of looked at the nuances and been able to really improve my business without coaching. But at a certain point, I'd like to kind of let my brain let go and, concentrate on other things like family as well. And maybe that would be an opportunity for coaching to kind of step in and help, keep everything organized, things like that. So right now it's really just myself and my team of 3 other agents. And, outside of that, there's other things that we can do in order to make things stable or consistent, but it's mostly myself. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So we got a couple minutes left. What do you see in the next year as the world opens back up? What are you hoping to see business wise, team growth, all of that fun stuff, lead generation?
I think a lot of it's going to stay the same, honestly. I wonder really about pricing. Pricing is really kind of a big challenge for us right now because of the quarantine and because of inventory. It's kind of interesting because I think the whole country now is starting to see what we in the Bay Area have been experiencing for the last decade and a half or so. And, it's kind of interesting because now we can say, I told you so, or now you understand our pain, but I think during this whole time in our market, ever since about 2008, we have been adapting just fine with the rising prices. And I think we will, in the Bay Area, continue to do so. So I think it will be business as usual for us. It's just really trying to figure out how to maximize customer support. I think that's very, very important. And also find creative opportunities for our buyers.
Right.
Our buyers, they're really stretched very, very thin. In fact, most of the working class blue collar buyers that I might be usually working with, they are not in the market at all. And I think we really need to find ways in order to keep them, engaged in real estate and really being able to provide financial wealth for them. So that's kind of the marketing that I would like to, if anything, really try and customize or really gear my business towards. Obviously, Zillow and Realtor.com and OpCity and Redfin Partner Agents, all those programs I think will still be around. And I think maybe if we find that our team is growing, that we will be engaging those again. But for right now, I think at least until the quarantine's over, I'm probably going to just, chill out, relax a little bit and spend time with my family.
That's awesome. Yeah, we've been talking about it a lot on the show recently because the Denver market is getting pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I saw recently that there's officially more real estate agents than there are listings nationally now for the first time ever. And it definitely would love to continue this conversation with you because Denver is definitely getting more like the Bay Area. There's listings going for tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars more than the listing price. And it's just insane. And we've talked a lot about what we think that'll mean 10 years from now. Like, will a beginner with a starter home be $1 million in Denver? And it's looking that way. And what does that mean long term? So we'll definitely have to continue this conversation. We really appreciate you. Sorry for the technology glitches today. For those of you listening, I will piece this all together for our podcast. We do now have a podcast that I don't think was live last time we had Grant on the show. So that's exciting. So this will be on Apple and on Spotify. You can, since you guys can't see this, you can text TIPS, which is 63566. Text TIPS to 63566, and it will ping you back the links to Spotify, to Apple, to a copy of Adam's book, Just the Tips. You can get past episodes of our show, including past episodes with Grant, our weekly little tip, and you can book a free hour of coaching with us so that you can learn more about us, we can learn more about you, and see if it's a good fit. So again, that's text TIPS to 63566. I will put all of Grant's contact information, because we have it, in the description of the podcast. So if any of you are in the Bay Area and want to reach out to Grant, you'll be able to do so. Grant, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you. And everybody else, we will see you next week for another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage.